Hi, church. We just finished this past Sunday our short series from Colossians chapter 2 on grace and the things that steal it from our lives. And the question that came in for our video blog this week was a question that was kind of a personal one. They said, Nate, you said that going from knowing about grace and believing God gives grace to actually receiving God's grace in your life was one of the most spiritually and emotionally terrifying moments in your life. Why was something so beautiful so terrifying for you? Well, that's a great question, and there is a very simple and plain answer to that question. It's pride. It was my pride that caused the terror in me, not God's grace, because God's grace is, well, everything. I mean, it's everything. There are no words. It is beautiful. It's awesome. It's incredible. It's everything. You see, I don't like to be indebted to someone. I had to rely on myself a lot growing up, and there are some good things that came out of having to rely on myself, and there are some not so great things, some unhealthy things that I wrestle with even to this very day because of that. God's still working on me in this area, but especially in those days, if I at all could avoid relying on someone for really just about anything, I would. And that's not necessarily a healthy thing. Now, grace, by definition, is unmerited favor. There was nothing that I could do to earn it, and I knew I would be forever in debt to God if I were to receive grace the way He says it is. And so, in the moment that I went from knowing about grace to receiving God's grace, it was so terrifying because it represented me actually and completely relying on God. It was no longer going to be, God doing His 99% and me doing my 1%, because that's not how it works. I was at a point in my life where I knew I could do absolutely nothing to help myself, my situation, my faith, my life. And I knew that if I wanted God to have any real impact and meaning in my life, I had to let go, even though I wanted so badly to put my head down and just plow forward. Just keep going in life. I knew that it wasn't, that it couldn't be just for the moment either. That if I let go of control, nothing would ever be the same for me. I would have to accept God on His terms in every area of my life, and not just pick and choose where I would apply what ultimately I deem to be right and good, as if I were God over Him, keeping Him in check, right? It could never be like that again. I either had to make Him ultimate, complete, absolute Lord of my life, or I had to live as my own Lord. And that was terrifying to me, even though in my head I knew He is good and gracious and all-powerful. Romans 5:17 has something to say about this. It says, "For if, because of one man's trespass, death reigned through that one man, much more will those who receive the abundance of grace and the free gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ." Reigning in this life, that's a great way to describe what came from my decision to let go of control, or at least my illusion of control. And that can only come from taking God at His word, on His terms, and releasing full control of my life to Jesus. I pray that you are reigning today in life as the result of God's abundant provision of grace and righteousness poured out over your life. Until next time, be a witness.